All right. Happy Thursday. Everyone's having a good week. We're almost to Friday. Some people are almost to Friday. This camera, Jenkins, a cat, decided he was going to bump it, even though he's not supposed to be at my desk. He left evidence. And it's not quite sitting right, but whatever. That's fine. Anyway, we are back with some more Roadwarden. Go ahead and continue here. So, we are up at Gale Rocks. We finally attempted the tunnel after having a lantern. And I figured out that, you can't actually go through the tunnel anyway, but I could have just gone around it this whole time. So, we fought some undead and found out the tunnel was locked, and then we went around, and we are now in Gale Rocks, and I'm talking to the leader, elder of the town, whatever you want to call her, and yeah, so I just figured it'd be a lot of conversation, so I figured I'd save that for today. So let me start the process. Wet the whistle, so to speak. I'll read this again, even though I read it. She raises her violet eyes slowly and looks at you kindly, putting away her stylus. Cheers, Roadwarden, she speaks with a hint of amusement, but it lasts only so long as those two words. I expect there's something only I can help you with. After a short pause, she clasps her hands on the desk. Let's hear it. Her accent is not as thick as that among the younger villagers, keeping a shadow of the years when the guild had tighter ties with the peninsula. But since she has no teeth, you have to think for a moment before you recognize some of her words. The village of Old Pagos is struggling with a plague, and that just feels like a weird thing to start with. But I might as well go down the list. So, the village of Old Pagos is struggling with a plague and isolates itself from trade and travelers. She looks at the perfumed man, who's standing with an open mouth. You glance at the crossbow woman, who has lowered her weapon. The head woman, still without a word, leans forward and rests her forehead on the back of her hand. Her guard tries to speak, but she looks at him with sorrow. Let me think, she states, and after less than a minute, tells him to gather the castle once your meeting is over. I say nothing. She glances at the exit. What are your thoughts about the necromancers in White Marshes? You almost jump away when the crossbow woman shifts her position, but she turns out to just be uncomfortable with the way she's sitting. Severina smirks, but as she starts to speak, her voice grows worried. What happens in White Marshes is a sign of cowardice and weakness. I've seen my share of harsh shears, and I sympathize. I do. With tribes that had to feed their people with tree bark, or decide which mother will eat enough to feed infants. But all them walking corpses will get out of the charms and murder their masters, like they always do. And instead of hunger and cold, they'll face the end of their souls. All we can do is keep ourselves safe. You try to ask a few more questions, but to no avail. We don't really travel there often, stranger, and some of the knowledge we gathered on this place is for our ears alone. I nod. She can't trust that I will keep anything between us. Did the village face any struggles with the bandits? She looks at her guard, then around her. Have you noticed where we are? We're safe enough to fight a dragon, and if there are any bandits in our woods, they eat nothing barring timber and worms. Whenever we trade, we send groups of 10, 20 souls strong, enough to push away a few footpads. Can you... I feel like she's not gonna like just, plain guide. What can you tell me about the tunnel south from here? I can tell you that the venerable digger Iono will tell you more about it than you want to hear, she will. Before the war, it used to be crossed every 10-20 days, enough for us to keep it garrisoned, but with how little use it now has, I'd be mad to ask any of our youth to throw themselves at the beasts that live there. She glances at an open pouch that's lying just nearby, with a few dragon bones sticking out of it. Her toothless grimace is hard to read. And don't offer me your services to merely get rid of the Awoken. I need long-term solutions, not violence, and sooner or later another threat will take their place. It may just as well stay occupied, at least no vagabonds will take it over. Whoops, already cleared it out. If you say so. My patience runs short, outsider. Severina gestures for you to pause. Are you sure other matters can't wait till tomorrow? There's something else we need to discuss. We need to, do we now? She says through clenched teeth. And what is it? Have you seen Asterion recently? He's also a Roadwarden. She shrugs and reaches for one of the candles, casting better light on one of her smaller wax tablets. I know who he is, but I've only spoken with him a few times, and heard that he stopped visiting the village at the beginning of summer. If he was around, I would know about it. I would. You mentioned that you doubt a Roadwarden would simply ignore a head woman of such a large village, and she looks at the ceiling, chewing on her bottom lip. I don't know what you're trying to imply, she says with a tone that won't accept any discussion. I had as much in common with him as I have with you. I don't trust strangers with crucial tasks, and if a warden of any kind wants to demonstrate that they know what they're doing, I invite them to survive a year or two before they bark. She observes you without a word, but her fingers are tapping on the table. The guard gives you a telling look. Farewell. The shouted commands of overseers make you look around anxiously. You go to... maybe there's a shopkeep? So I can look for a trader. A young carrier chuckles. And what would you buy? Without a wagon, donkeys. We sell barrels of fish, sacks of salt. When a caravan comes, we empty a warehouse, then fill it up again with food. When you ask her if she's sure there's nothing useful that a lone traveler could get in such a large village, she seems a bit embarrassed. Well, we have a weaponsmith, but he doesn't sell any blades to outsiders. But maybe Rufina, the tailor? Okay. Well, let's go to the weaponsmith. The outer armory is right next to the eastern gate, but you are led behind it, through a fence gate, to the training ground. You are introduced to Tadius, a muscular man who's walking in just his pants, displaying his muscular chest and arms, tanned and hairy, and his dusty, dirty feet. His teenage pupils, gathered on the trampled ground, also wear no boots, and wear old, torn tunics with marks of blood and scratches both on their clothes and skin. The man is looking through a few toy weapons gathered in a barrel. A wooden sword, a few spears with their tips wrapped in rags, and similar-looking clubs. After your arrival, the man throws a spear to one of the younger kids, tells the others to get to him like mad boars, and soon after that you hear a painful thud and cheerful laughter. He then offers you vivid red cherries, maybe the last ones this season. He may be just over 30 years old, yet his wide shoulders, unusual height, and straight posture make even his kindest words sound like a threat. You need something from me, Roadwarden? I'm looking for better equipment. Then you came to the wrong village. We don't sell anything we've stored at our armory. We need these things for ourselves. When you mention dragon bones, he looks away at the fighting kids and orders them to divide into 2 teams, letting the assaulted spearmen rest for a bit. And what am I to do with dragons? Buy blades? His chuckle, while fake, is loud and moves his chest up and down. After you insist that he may want to think if there's nothing for an axe user such as yourself to find here, he puffs out his cheeks, thinking as he exhales. You know what? Come, take a look. And you, he looks at the teens, a few minutes of rest. Don't lose any eyes. You go back to the armorer's door, and after a few breaths, the man shows you a kite shield, so large it could cover half your shell with ease. It's a gift we received, but we don't use such a shape. It's too weird for us. You can buy it if you wish, or maybe you'd like to grab some corals if you have a crossbow. We have enough of those. Let's discuss the price. Way more than I can afford. Heck. That would be everything. It's probably not the smartest thing in the world for me to do. I'm going to quick save here, just in case. No, because I can't remember if I have more things to turn into creeks. Yeah, I can't really do that, unfortunately. I just can't afford it. But I mean, if I want to get a shield, at least I know where to go. I step away. Okay. Um. Well, it's too early for us to just sleep here. Can go further? What is this? I thought we were like right up against the ocean. Oh, yeah, okay. Just got an achievement for it. Reach the sea. The roars of the sea reach you first, then the cold wind and the light. There are hardly any shrubs nearby, and as you ride downhill toward the white and gold beach, the sunbeams hit you with full force. The sea here is not like the one from Havlevin's port. The harbor and waters most people see during their busy days are full of life: ships, warehouses, traders, dockers. And of course, there's Sickle, the barrier island that provides the city with its lagoon, but also serves as a home to dozens of species of birds, monkeys, and rodents. For most people, the sea is never silent. But if one travels to Sickle and looks west, or embarks on a boat and sails away, there's yet another view, a very different one. The never-ending blue, the emptiness, the humming waves, the monsters swimming to the surface just to take a breath, not even interested in the wooden vessels. Many say that if one jumps off a ship with a heavy stone, they will drown before they touch the seabed. Here, however, the water can't be separated from the rocks that cut through it, like a swarm of mushrooms in a dark forest. Their shapes and sizes vary, but it's their number that makes them unusual. If you were to name each one, you'd have to make up at least half of the names. There's no doubt where the name of Gale Rocks comes from. The stones piercing through the surface of the water are shaped like beast fangs, as if they're asking the ships to dare and test their strength. Where it's possible, I keep to the greener parts of the beach. Sand is awful for hooves. You follow the sharp turn to the right. The road remains broad enough for carts and wagons, and avoids the sands, letting Haas trot without disturbances. The grasses to the east and south are short, and hardly any shrubs have managed to oppose the harsh winds. The human activity you witness is intense. A large barge is resting on the river, immobilized by the ropes and wooden posts, and you see a few people foraging at the beach and in the grasses. Even more people, most of them without wrinkles, are gathered at the pier, where they prepare their boats and nets and talk about their plans for the following hours. You reach the end of the beaten path, getting to the stone-made pier, just next to a small dolman-shaped shed. Only the door seems to be fairly new, and you don't doubt that both of the structures have been repaired many times in the past, crumbling under the touch of the waves. I head to the fishers. You approach a group of workers standing in front of the shed. Podios is there, one of them tells you, and points at the tallest man, dressed in undyed wool and linen. He's discussing something with a group of workers, but as you head in his direction, he nods for you to join him on the side. His outfit is heavy, appropriately so for someone who spends long hours under the hits of the cold onshore winds. The massive leather boots, thick tunic and pants, and the heavy cloak, now held under his arm, make you wonder if he'd even be able to swim. Like most sea folk, he has long limbs, almost no facial hair, and ears so flat that they are hardly noticeable. His neck draws your eyes. It's covered with marks left by the burning suckers of a sea monster, as wide as your finger is long. Below these scars he's wearing a pendant made of a fist-sized black beak. He speaks first, with the strong and confident voice of a young man, no older than 25. We don't really sell any catch on our own. Maybe ask our smokers or the cook. That's fine, I was hoping to speak with you. And who are you, exactly? After you introduce yourself, the man raises a corner of his mouth in an angry grimace. I won't have much to tell you, Roadwarden. Like my neighbors, he looks at the nearby fishers, I struggle with day-to-day living. I do, not adventurers, and even less so outsiders' schemes. I assume it's supposed to be not like, maybe it's just the way he's talking. Do you have any work for me? Work? What do you know about fishing? You mentioned the docks of Havleven. but after a few questions about fishing nets, boats, and winds, it's clear you don't impress in this conversation. Teaching one how to work with us takes time, effort, and rescuing those who fall overboard. You ain't a kid of ours, so if anything, it should be you who pays us for sharing what our forebears have mastered. You explain that you can fight better than most, and that gives them an idea. Our guards stay at the village, so we always move in groups and waste time securing the beach from harpies and saurians, we do. We could put 3 more souls on the boat and keep you on the beach. You'd guard those not fishing with nets. What's in it for me? How much do you want, stranger? He responds carefully, and you spend a few minutes discussing the details. Right. You'll get a meal and 2 coins for a peaceful day, and another one for putting your life at risk, he summarizes. But you must be at the beach soon after dusk, while we're preparing our boats, and have enough strength to convince me you'll be more of a help than a bother. They fish at night? I think it's supposed to be dawn. I think that's a typo. Are you sure you don't need help with something that would fit my skills? I spend many hours on the road. He gives you a long look. You know what, outsider? There's something you could do for me. You can't really ruin it by trying. I need you to help my daughter... Phoebe? I assume? Phoebe? Seeing your look, he raises his hands. Don't worry, she's fine. Merely spellless. For generations, my family used Numa to lure fish and hold our breaths. But no matter how much she practices, she can't cast even the tiniest spell. There's something wrong with her soul. He pauses, and his voice grows pained. She's my only child, and I seek no new wife. I want her to have the choice to do whatever she wants, and it breaks me to think she won't have a way to follow in my footsteps. Well, that's unfortunate. I am not a scholar or a mage. I don't really know how I can help you. His eyes are absent. A few years ago, our traders were at the home of this weird enchantress by the Eastern Road. I don't know her name. She lives close to the old watchtower. You can't miss it. If she's alive, she may still have these weird rocks. Spirit rocks, I think. They help weaken mages. Buy one, bring it here. Maybe eating some Numa will help Phoebe learn. It sounds like a... Well, what does your daughter think about all this? What does she think? He looks at you as if you're mad, then glances at the nearby fishers. She'd be heartbroken to realize she's spellless. I won't tell her unless I have no other way. She's merely a child. I'm doing what's best for her. It sounds like a very unusual healing attempt. Are you sure you want to try this? I've asked our sorcerers about what they felt when they used the stones. The Numa got stronger than on most days, and nothing bad happened to them. We risk nothing, outsider, he says with growing irritation, and stops himself from scratching the scars on his neck. Okay, well, yeah, he's probably not interested in following that. You forgot to mention my payment. I'm not a drifter. I don't hoard any savings. We gather everything in the keep, we do. A spirit rock should cost about 10 coins. Since it's quite a journey from here, I'm ready to pay almost everything I've got. 15. Okay. I'll tell you when I have a spirit rock. See you later. I approach the pier. You're next to the shed. The fishers are in the middle of their work. Most of them are either away from the coast, casting the nets from the boats, or just walk around with heavy clothes, but revealed legs, using their fancily shaped spears to catch either a fish or a bird sitting on one of the rocks. There's also a few people on the land, resting, eating, and keeping an eye on the equipment. Oh, I leave the pier. Oh, wait. Talk to the fishers. Oh, okay, it is the same setup. Cool. I guess that's that. What time is it? I got 6 hours. I don't really think there's anywhere for me to... I could try to go get the key. Maybe we'll do that. Go to the tunnel. The door was here. It's a sleeping chamber, I think? No. Move forward. Head of the stream. Deeper into the tunnel. Dining chamber. Is it in the armory? Turn to the tiny room. Okay, there we go, yep. I touched the shape of the hourglass with the pendant ion. It's a match. You fit it into the grooves, then press. The brick moves deeper inside, then bounces back, allowing you to draw it out completely. In the secret compartment, you find a key made of bronze. It's as large as your forearm. Hopefully, this is the right thing to do. I turn back and go as deep into the tunnel as I can. I open the gate with the huge key. Easier said than done. Rotating the key alone makes you hold your breath. And as you work at pushing the leaves open, you puff and blow, taking breaks. After it's done, you wipe your sweaty forehead, giving a proud look at the light that has now entered the chamber. Okay. It's done. Go back to Haas. Travel. Yeah, I already explored the entire tunnel. Okay. How much time? I mean, we can stay at the pier. See if we can work for them the next day. Oh. Never mind. No. Gale rocks. Oh, shoot. On your way north, the fishers greet you with polite nods and tired looks. Some of them carry the boats and tools, dividing the weight between them, while the others are pulling the ropes attached to the wide barge, moving it up the river slowly. There aren't that many fishes in sight, and the grumpy faces suggest it was a rough day. I slow down and talk to them. Photios discusses plans for tomorrow and the other workers, but politely nods to you. Okay. We got time. I ride to the beach. Well, no one's there. The seagulls are as loud as the waves. There are no boats, nets, or fishers in sight, but there are countless boot prints and footprints in sight, both on the road and next to it. I approach the pier. You're next to the shed. Oh, okay. It's just looking at it, I guess. Thought there might be something different here, but... Leave the pier, travel... Oh. We're staying in Gale Rocks. Alright. Sleep. Forgot how much it was. I don't know why it won't let me eat. To like fill up so that I could actually spend that. Let's go and do the labor. After Fulvia blows out the candles, without considering if you're ready for it, you are in complete darkness, and you only now realize how quiet this room is. The thick walls block the humming of the wind, birds, the river. The keeper heads to her own room, and you only occasionally hear the whispers or snores of the other dwellers. Finally, some peace. You wake up surrounded by darkness. The keeper is sitting outside next to the open door. The fishers are getting ready. They are. Go, ask someone where you can load the wagons, she says slowly, as if you're meant to repeat these exact words. You're freed from your duties after a few hours of work before you get a backache. You sit on a bench. Some of the locals slow down to observe you. but whenever you meet their eyes, you find a challenge, not amity. The pillars of smoke start to rise above the buildings. Many of the workers have already left the village. The remaining adults are either outside, carrying timber, food, or other wares, or in their workshops, the largest of which are open air. The sounds of work muffle the conversations, so you mostly hear the shouts of children and overseers. Okay, I should probably eat something. Let's go and just eat 2. All right. Well, let's open up the entire map, I think, and then we can go from there. The road is still covered with the peddler's leftovers, as well as all the leaves and branches on the ground, but at least the beast is nowhere in sight, even though there are some fresh paw prints just nearby. Your plan worked just fine. Let's hope the locals won't be upset about the wasted fruits. You approach the raised drawbridge and observe the face of the mountain. The hooks holding the hourglass are as large as a person, displaying their devotion to the right proudly. It took tremendous wealth and labor. The rustling of leaves carries no song of birds, shout of apes, or whines of hunted critters. The river attacks its banks with a fierce roar. You get off your palfrey. The cave mouths are connected by paths, stairs, and bridges. You don't see any people, but there's smoke coming from one of the entrances, and you hear muffled thuds of a hammer. The gardens are weeded, the buildings firm. The green trees on the top of the mountain bear red and brown fruits. 2 rounded sticks are tied with a rope to a nearby rock. You grab them and take a closer look. They're claves? I wonder if it's like knockers. Yeah, that must be what claves means. Yeah, probably this one. I make a few firm hits and shout a greeting at anyone who shows up near the building. The echo of your hits cuts through the swashing stream. After a few minutes, 2 hooded figures leave a cave mouth at the top of the mountain and give you a long look from the edge of the cliff, and then walk down the path with caution. You smile and wave to them before they disappear behind the buildings, which are made of bricks, not logs, and are covered with tiles instead of thatch. Little by little, the bridge gets looser, then it hits the grass gently. The taller figure, now covered with shadows, invites you with a gesture. I lead Haas inside. Greetings. And greetings to ye, he hesitates. His voice is hoarse, but sonorous. Salutations to thou, traveler. He puts his bandaged hand on his waist. You're at Wright's Haven. The greeters take off their hoods. They wear brown, dark, simple worn robes and ropes instead of belts. They have no jewelry or ornaments, just small bags made of fabric on their shoulders. The largest shell belongs to a strong, barefoot man in his 50s. Despite having no weapon, his eyes are audacious, and could belong to a mussel standing in the door of a harbor tavern. His wrinkles are subtle, but there are only a few tufts of gray hair left on his greasy head. His skin is pale, covered with liver spots, though at a closer look you realize a few of them are just stains left by ink. I look at the second monk. The girl is about 14, with unsightly acne on her forehead and a robe that brushes the ground whenever she takes a step. Her black hair is tied into a humble ponytail. She observes your horse curiously, cocking her head to a side, but when she catches your look, she meets your eyes boldly, raising her chin as if to challenge you. Thy mount is free to help itself with hay and water. We'll wait outside. Thou can't stay here for now, but leave before the night. The plague is nearby, the struggle ahead. While they indeed leave the room, their trust only goes so far. They observe you through the open door. The building is a single storeroom, filled with crates and barrels, a stack of firewood and another one of bricks, a pile of straw, a chest, 2 wheelbarrows, and finally the racks, shelves, tools, clothing, and utensils. The light comes from the open gates, accompanied by the sharp draft. I tether Haas near the water trough and join the monks. The lack of walls make you feel exposed. A few pairs of eyes observe you from the paths above you, while others either climb to the very top or approach the unremarkable vegetable beds. Most of the dwellers wear hoods, and all of them wear similar worn robes. A chilling wind touches your neck. I put on my hood. They keep their distance. The man greets you by raising his open palm, wrapped with bandages that disappear underneath his sleeve. His lips form something between a sneer and a smile. What brings thee here? Art thou a go-between? The girl keeps an eye on your axe and occasionally glances at your boot, the one that hides a knife. I'm Dane, the new Roadwarden. Good. Well, the roads need their wardens, the folks need their roads, but there are none behind this mountain, and we take care of the one that you've just crossed. Thou does not need to bother. Thy services are not required. He gestures for you to wait. But where's the man with a red beard? There isn't enough work here for the two of you. Asterion, I was hoping to find him here. I'm sorry to disappoint thee. He rubs a liver spot on his hand. But he hasn't been here in months. We rarely have visitors different than our friends from Old Pagos. We don't invite the outside world, and we don't care much for it. Hast thou checked in Pelt of the North on the southern road? If he's wounded, it's a safe shelter, I've heard. The girl scratches the ground with her boot, though it remains hidden underneath her robe. The man looks at her with amusement. Looks like Decima here is eager to return to her duties. I'm Ailey, but I'll not shake thy hand. One of us could carry the plague in our flesh. Who can know? Who can tell? What brings thee to our monastery? Is there nothing you can do about the plague that has beset Old Pagos? Well, his cough doesn't help his hoarse throat. We don't understand what makes it grow. We put to use all the ingredients we found, brewed as many potions and bombs as we could, and they worked for one afternoon. Then people once again fell ill. Who can tell where the sickness dwells? A powerful healer could get rid of it once and for all with a single spell, but no follower of the Rite in the North carries such talents. Maybe it's time for someone to enter the village and look for the source. Thou thinkest? He smirks. The well isn't poisoned, the sea brings fresh air, the crops have their regular color, the ibexes drop healthy feces. The tribe isn't dumb, no reason to lock you inside. Wow, that opened a whole bunch of conversations, so... Alright, well, I might as well just go through it from the top. I ask him about Phoebe and the Spirit Rock. Nah, I wouldn't bite into aught touched by that witch. He hides his bandaged hand behind his back. Why does the father think it may work? You portray the situation as accurately as you can. Ailey gets closer to the cliff, observing the river beneath it, and spending a good few minutes considering the situation. Suddenly, he turns towards you with wide-open eyes, making his companion stagger. He's lying to thee, he announces with a great dose of enthusiasm. He seeks no cure for the lack of pneuma, but rather for the lack of soul itself. Before 8 years calling to greatness, the tribes of the Dragonwood saw the spellless children as empty shells, throwing them to beasts just as often as they did with the crippled and the short-witted. There's this tale, he glances at you, though thou won't remember it anyway, but the tablets carry no doubt. Tribes shan't hurt those touched with this condition, as there's no such stuff as soulless children. Interesting. He did say that he started to say that she was soulless, but then corrected himself to spellless when I was talking to him, so. What can you tell me about Asterion? Let me think. He looks at the sky and clenches his fist around the strap of his bag. The first time he was here, we asked him to find us some iron in Gale Rocks. The second time, he did bring us a few scraps, but was wounded. A piece of flesh bitten away from his thigh. Said that a 100-legged worm had caught him off guard in a meadow. Instead of his pay, we offered him a potion. Anything noteworthy about the iron he delivered? Scavenged from furniture. A few of them were rusty. Who knows where he bought them? We melted them for nails. Tell me about Gale Rocks. He hesitates, but finally nods. Just some seaweed eaters. Their soil is barren, but the strongest of them spend their days on the boats, among the sharp rocks. Those who can't hunt for fish boil water to make salt. They trade with other villages, more than anyone in the peninsula, for crops, wood, and meat, he snorts. But they're weak folk, weak and angry, like a wolf beaten and kicked from a pup. Loud, ready to bite, but all it takes is for someone to raise their hand, then it jumps away and whimpers. He lets go of his bag. At least they follow Wright's teachings. This guy's kind of rude. Do you know anything interesting about the path leading through the heart of the woods? I used to, but like all places that belong to beasts, it shifts every year. The only reason why it still has trails at all is that creatures use our roads as their own game trails. Only a dimwit would try to cross it now. After you ask him if he knows any such person, he takes a deep breath. Well, last I've heard, Quintus, the gatekeeper from Old Pagos, is missing or dead. He's a brute and an idiot, can't understand jokes, can't stand weaklings. If thou ever meet him, just smile and let him speak as much as he needs to shut up. I'm looking for a few hunters from creeks. Were they here? Hunters from creeks? He mimics your voice with a hint of mockery. Not a soul from there has reached this temple and... He rubs the back of his bandaged hand and looks at a monk who's carrying buckets of water. Well, a decade? They've got enough hunting grounds. The heart of the woods, the watchtower, the northern hills. I'm trying to learn more about the local bandits. Then ask in the villages. He looks at the wooden entrance hall behind you. No group is going to bother us, for they've got no understanding of our pneuma and potions. Eudosha, the enchantress, wants to place these rods in high points across the peninsula. Can you help me out? You've brought her magic here? He steps back, while Decima turns toward you and reaches behind her back with one hand. Ailey's voice is close to a shout. Take it away before you put all of us in danger. Calm down, it's just a piece of bronze. His pale face starts turning red. The echo adds a thunder to his words. You're not asked for your thoughts. You think yes to judge. After you put your trust in that witch, he points at you with a bandaged finger. She's a beast in clothes. Its claws will tear away thy head. Okay. What do you know about the necromancers in the north? He rubs the liver spots on his forehead with his bandaged hand, looking with one eye at his short companion. This and that. What's your stance on necromancy in general? He pulls his fingers, gathering his thoughts. My stance? I don't need one. I trust the right. The dead makers must be weeded out. Their power brings only fogs. One may think the spellcaster is in control of the shells, but once they lose their breath, the dead are freed, searching for blood. Humans will never control the dead. How does one deal with the undead, or necromancers? Well, well. Is it a single corpse, a squad, an army? Thou needest to learn how shrewd the enemy is. Can it sense thy presence? Can it use a bow or spells? As long as thou art alone, it's always better to run. The older empty ones, even more so those that weren't awoken by the fogs, get cunning, human-like, but with cruelty thou hast never seen. Well, he kind of already told me about how he feels about them. I found this wax tablet. Could you read it to me? He tells you to wash it in a nearby bucket and put it on the ground. As you step away, he moves closer and picks it up, then wipes it with his robe. He has to keep the letters close to his face. Sloppy signs, shapes are not consistent, lacks experience. The stylus was too large. He observes the contents patiently, then washes your possession again and puts it on the ground, keeping his distance. These are notes on ores, boats, and a volcano, but such babbling would take the original scribe to read them, someone who understands the code. There's one name here, Navika. It suits a fisher or a sailor. Do you need any help? I'm looking for a job. He puts his hands together and repeatedly taps his fingers. After a few breaths, he straightens up. No. Okay. Would you like to barter? Not today. Not before the spring. Our order uses every bottle we make to help the sick from Old Pagos, as well as to protect ourselves. It's pretty interesting for a, purely text-based experience. I could bring you dragon bones, or something that doesn't grow in the mountains. He looks at the steel hourglass hanging from the wall. Taste, softness, tools of murder. We shall crave not. One thing we lack are delicacies we could offer to the sick and weak, but thou wilt not find such a thing in this sad land. Alright, well, I guess I can ask about the monastery. Does this place have a leader of sorts? He crosses his arms and takes a look at the cave mouth behind him, then gives you a harsh look. If our prelate was willing to see thee, they'd let thee know. I'm willing to prove that I'm trustworthy. We'll see. Maybe. Okay. Well, I think that's all I'm getting out of this guy. So we basically, except for the middle, have uncovered the map. How much time do we have? 3 hours? Well, I guess we go back to Haller's Dell. So we still need to get into the center here. Let's see, what else do we need? I still need to convince people to put up the bronze rods, and that's boding poorly. So Asterion is almost certainly working with Tulia. If I place one more of the bronze rods, the sorceress will pay me. Definitely can't place one in the monastery. So we definitely have the one in White Marshes. Old Tunnel in the north. Abandoned Watchtower. Where else could we place one? Oh, wait. Yeah, we're not doing that. It's only 30 minutes away, right? Yeah, we could do that. Let's go to the tree. As you descend, you think of Ailey's reaction to the bronze rod. You could ignore him and take a few minutes to tie it to one of the ledges just nearby. This place is already high above the woodlands. Thanks. It's been nice. It grew in pretty quickly, but I mean, it's a pain sometimes. It tries to attack me. This is the Mog's land, and I should obey their laws. I write ahead. Gelatinous. Oh, you're jealous? Sorry, it took me longer than it should have. You reach the crossroads. The tree is perfectly still and hasn't changed a bit since the first time you saw it. You hear the sound of a small creature jumping into the water. Can we... Yeah, I got it. Can we put a bronze rod here? Let's see. Are we at the altar? No. Just an offering. Roots. No. Okay, well, that's a bust. Maybe at the rock slide, but I can't. I don't have time to do that today. Let's go and... Let's see at Hallersdell. I need to get my gambeson repaired if I can afford it. Probably not after I stay here, but... You approach the opening gate, then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Greetings, Roadwarden. What news do you bring? We gossip for a bit. The curious locals gather around to take part in your conversation. Recently, the fresh cheese spoiled very quickly. Maybe there's a new evil spirit around. Okay, that was less than useful, but... The Sable Master shows up soon after you step away from Haas. His lips are thinned, and he gives a longing glance toward the bridge. Well, here, take one of my coins. He nods with gratitude and throws the bone into a leaky bucket, hanging from a nail, then grabs a wooden pitchfork. Alright, let's go... We got time. Let's go to the tailor. I need your services. I hope I have enough. Actually, I can't remember how much staying. I don't know if it's 1 coin or 2. I think it's 2. Well, let's spend the 2 and hope we're not just can't afford the inn. All right, sleep. Oh, well, I guess I can just sleep outside. That's not too bad. All right, we're sleeping on a mouflon pelt. It's warm here, but the mouflon skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up a couple times during the night. The smell of the cooked stew fuels your hunger, and the staff returns to the room once every hour or so to stir the pot. You wake up early, but leave the building to check upon Haas and give it water from the creek. The innkeeper sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Thais is nowhere to be seen. Okay, I leave the square, and now we can travel. Oh, we could try the rock slide. I feel like it would have prompted us, but it didn't when we were there before. We need high up spaces. So we left it on a tree there. We left one here. We have one in White Marshes. I could have swore there'd be something here we could interact with. Let's try the rock slide. The rock slide has made the path impassable. Yeah, it doesn't... I should be able to just leave it in a tree or something. Let's go to the ruins again. You know, I don't actually remember. I think I just did normal. Whatever the normal was. I'm playing a warrior. I just wanted to see what it was like. You definitely, I mean, I'm assuming I haven't seen what the other ones actually get, but I'm assuming it makes combat easier, but obviously you can't read and you can't interact with any magic stuff. And there's definitely some things that you don't just innately know, which I'm assuming the scholar actually gets. Alright. Can I not do anything with the village either? Okay, return to the barren fields in the southwest. Okay. You're surrounded by barren fields. The path leading west from here ends together with the field, shifting into a meadow, then a forest. In the north, you see a passable path around the palisade. East from here, you see a road leading south and an abandoned building. I used the weird sapling to sense if there's pneuma buried in this place. You remove the linen sack and shake off the soil from the roots, then dig a hole and plant the sapling in the middle of the field. Just to be sure, you don't water it. All you can do now is wait. So you brush Haas for a bit and make sure the saddle doesn't bother it. When you return, the plant is dark from sickness, dried up, withered. The field must have been corrupted, though seeing how there are already some plants growing from it, the spell is fading away. The curse is most likely as old as the last harvest. I need to eat again. I guess I'll have to eat in a second. I go somewhere else. Well, I guess we're kind of done here. Now can I eat? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Where else can we set up a bronze rod? I really need money. I need to figure out where I can set one up. I don't really have an easy solution to that either. I could try to offer something. I don't think I have anything that... I could try to sell the scraps. Yeah, otherwise I just don't really have anything I can make money off of. Let's see if I can sell the scraps. Head of the armorer. Oh. Well, that's unhelpful. I could sell something to him. Enter the inn. Oh, the scavenger's still here. Alright, I approach the scavenger. Nope. He won't take any more scraps. Alright. Do I have anything you'd like to buy? I could free you from this iron and steel, but we don't have a furnace to work with them. Let's say 6 coins. I mean, sure, I really need it right now, actually. Deal. You pull out some things, but the innkeeper shakes his head. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Okay. I bring sad news from old Pagos. The villagers were stricken by a plague. He sighs and puts his muscled arm on his head, then asks you about the state of the village and the symptoms you know of. After a short conversation, he observes the counter. I was planning to get in touch with those stonecutters. Thank you for bringing me the news. Let's hope they can make it until spring. I mean, I know that Glacia's band was basically working with Asterion at this point. I don't know if that's information he wants, though. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Well, kind of SOL at this point. We need to just make something happen. Which pretty much means going into the forest. I am... that's just the basic quests. So we still need to find Asterion, obviously, which pretty sure he's in the center. So we could go get a dragon bone from Ela for that. I still need to deal with that tree. Let's see. Okay, so I can talk to the innkeeper at Hallersdale now. Still need to find the hunters. Sorry, I'm just going through what I actually still have to wrap up that I can without going into the center. So we know that, I think it's Vashel? Maybe Dahlia. One of them went into the forest at least. Okay, so we do need to just find Thais, or however you pronounce it. Okay, that's just... Yeah, it's Spirit Rock. Yeah, so her Spirit Rocks won't work. Swamp Altar. Okay, so that's... We should really just go back to Haller's Dell and try to talk to the mayor. A lot of wasted time. I should have read that first. Yeah, I know, I'm stinky. Broke. Okay, leave Haas there. Go to the main square. Ask a guard to look for the mayor. Yes. Bring sad news from Old Pagos. The villagers were stricken by a plague. For a few breaths, she doesn't even blink. So close to us? A plague? How? She adjusts her cape and calls a guard with a gesture. Tell the others to gather by 8 ale. She tells her, then looks back into your eyes. I'll pass them the news once we're done here. We have closed the gates, maybe keep strangers away. She starts to tap on her deer buckle. At least we can make some preparations, thanks to you. Good wardening, she says with little conviction. But you should also speak with our druids. They may have more questions for you. The guard returns, and the mayor sends her away again. Warn Elpis. She must speak with Dane soon. I bring news about Glacier's band. And what are they? The only place bothered by raids is White Marshes. The people from Gale Rocks and Creeks have faced no issues. She exhales and raises her open ponds. So there's no reason to worry. The people of White Marshes are no friends of ours, and if Glacia is eager to bother with the poorest settlement in the north, especially one filled with Awoken, it must be personal for her. We have no reason to stand in the middle of it. She straightens up and adjusts her cape, and stares into your eyes. Her voice is solemn. As the mayor of Hallersdale, I appreciate your concern, but I don't share your apprehension. The guards of our village will stay on our walls. Be sure to come see us soon. We would gladly share a lamb and tail with you. Very well. I'll pass it to him. She reaches for her pouch, and here's what I promised you. Good work, Dane. Hey, look, more money. Let me know if you need anything else. We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you are from, Dane. What's your story? Have you lived in Hovleven your entire life? In a way, I know it as well as any other city folk, but every spring I train in horsemanship in a nearby village. I was just about to ask about it. I couldn't imagine someone building a stable and a paddock in a place where you can't squeeze in a single new house. Your accent is very city-like, like that of a merchant. She still doesn't trust me enough. Okay. Well, maybe if I just keep talking to her. Tell me about Hallersdale. It is what it seems like, the greatest village in the far north. She raises her hand and makes an inviting gesture, though I hope to still improve this and that. She winks at you, but is suddenly interrupted by the pain. So we've already gone through this. Okay. I keep thinking, surely city folk don't eat just wild game, saltfish, and groats. What animals do people breed in nearby villages? There's a lot of mouflons. The monks need their parchment. Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. You catch a hint of annoyance in her laughter. Our livestock won't sell well, but that's fine. It's hard to keep the number of lambs high. We would need to sacrifice a field to raise a new flock. Okay, what would it take to make you consider joining Hobbleman? Ah, I can consider it, right now. While she laughs, her eyes remain keen. But if you want me to give you some answers, let's see. She looks up and to the right, theatrically raising her hand to her chin. Some gestures of goodwill would be a great start. Since you're the guild's messenger, I need to know you can be relied on. Okay, I feel like I've already... Okay. I don't know why I was still like a new option. And that's only the first step, I assume? Of course. Do you even have the power to handle tax negotiations? She scoffs loudly at your head shake. Do enough for my village and I'll hand you a beautiful signed letter. A list of all the things my neighbors are looking for, as well as what they can give in return. Your superiors are going to see more than enough to prepare their offer. She rubs her hands. I think that's fair. Yeah, looks like we're in agreement. Perfect. One more thing, though. She puts her elbows on the table, leaning closer to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger. I'll end you first. She rests her chin against her open palms, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new Roadwarden. Maybe ask around to see if anyone needs your help. The more my neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing they'll be to offer you better pay. Well, let's start here. What can I do for you? Ah, so kind of you to... I feel like I started this and she didn't want to talk about it. I'm not sure now. Maybe I just needed to explore more. So kind of you to ask. But before I ask you to run, let's see how you can walk, shall we? Her eyes wander left and right, and she gestures for a nearby guard to move away. He nods, then gestures at a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away as quickly as you notice them. The mayor's shiny green eyes are still locked on you, and her voice is close to a whisper. Since Asterian's disappearance, there's little trade on the roads, and not much news reaches us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you with how obviously fake it is, and help me learn some interesting tales about our neighbors. I smile back at her. You mean ones that weren't meant to reach you? See, I knew that deep down you're a true sage. She titters and straightens up, adjusting her cape without haste. Do you have something to share? Oh boy. Alright, well, before I decide if I want to be a spy for her, basically, I think I'm going to leave it at that and go get some dinner myself, because I am famished. So, thanks for showing up. I don't know if you're still around Suwarkle, but I'm assuming you've played. Yeah, for sure. I'm assuming you have played, though, right? You've played this one? Did you... I can't remember the name of it. There's a link to another game, I assume by the same people. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and save here. I can just ask about it. Let's go main menu. Windy Meadow. Is that by the same people? Is it kind of like the same setup? I don't know if you know. I'm just curious. Yeah. So I assume you haven't played that one then. Okay. I was just curious because yeah, this is interesting. I kind of wanted to check it out. I was just curious if you had it as a recommendation. So, but anyway, I will be back on Tuesday with some more Roadwarden at 5 p.m. Central Time. So, thanks for sticking around. I'm glad to find someone else that has enjoyed Roadwarden, and it's a little harsh on my throat, but it's fun. I do like the throwback to old school RPGs. Have a good one.